Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCart, iFLTV. Always delighted to be joined by my good friend, Mr. Sam Jones. Sam, even though I saw you Friday night at the Bolton show, it seems like it's been a long time since we've done these Zoom calls.
Yeah. No, I've not done. I don't think I've done one on a weekend for a long time.
Well, we're back, baby. We're back.
Back in business, Andrew. Back in business.
That's it, mate. Loads of fights happening last night. Liam Paro, Subriel Matias, I know you're interested in because that 140-pound division with Jack.
Yeah.
A fighter that you're a fan of in Gervonta Davis, and also Bill Smith and Riakpo. So I'll leave it to you. Where do you want to start?
I didn't watch the whole fight with Riakpo Billam Smith, not because for any specific reason, but like I had like other engagements, so couldn't watch the whole fight. But I thought starting with that fight, it was a pretty poor fight. It wasn't the best fight. I thought Richard Riakpo was poor, if I'm honest. He was really poor. There didn't seem to be any game plan whatsoever. And he just looked like, I don't know, like it was just not, it just was really not a good performance. But you don't really want to take away what Billam Smith's done, because in Billam Smith's last couple of fights, there's been some criticism when Coley boxed him, or Coley wasn't very good, or now Riakpo wasn't good. But really, you've got to probably give credit to Billam Smith. I'd like to see him go on and try and unify. I'd like to see the Opataya fight. That seems like the logical fight to me. It's champion versus champion. So hopefully that fight can happen. I didn't watch Tank Davis fight, just saw the highlight. He's a pound for pound, isn't he? Fighter, in Tank. Yeah,
you've said there's only like 5 guys on the planet that can sell like a stadium, like it's a superstar, that can sell anything. And Gervonta Davis is the one that you said.
Yeah, I try and make a point of it just because, like, when people say, "Oh, he's this pulling power," like without with that piece, I'm talking about fighters that don't really need dance partners. They could just fight the postman over the road. Tank's one of the 4 or 5 fighters that can do that. But he fought a very good fighter in Frank Martin. I just think that Tank's on another level. I'd love to see him against Shakur Stevenson. I really would. I think it'd be such a contrast of styles, and I'd love to see how Tank dealt with how tricky Shakur is. I would love to see that fight next. The other fight, Liam Paro against Matias, I watched the whole fight this morning. Light work from Paro. It was easy. It was not, I can't say easy, but it was just a comfortable win. It was just a comfortable win. And I did say in my interview the other day, when people get saying, "Oh, the boogeyman," is he really the boogeyman? It's just like I don't know. I don't. But listen, fair shout out Liam Paro. Well done. He's gone into the Lions Den, Puerto Rico. Nobody really gave him a prayer, and he's gone in there and absolutely pissed it. So congratulations to him. And I know he's got like a young family, so he needs to enjoy the fruits of his labour. Congratulations.
Definitely. Now, I want to go back to the Tank Davis fight because it'll probably tie into this 140-pound division and Liam Paro and Jack Catterall and all them guys. Now, you mentioned the Shakur Stevenson fight. If Tank obliterates Stevenson the way he's been obliterating all these opponents of late, do you feel like a move to 140 into this division where, for me right now, Sam, the 140-pound division is probably the most dangerous division to be in with all the guys out? Do you think he can make that jump? Can Gervonta Davis make that jump?
100% he can, but it's just whether he wants to or not. Because Tank can go and have a fight at 147. He could kind of cherry pick a 147 fighter, come back down to 135, do 140, cherry pick a fight at 140, because he's that guy, isn't he, Tank? He is just that guy. So he's the face of boxing. So he can do whatever he likes, Tank.
Again, Liam Paro, now the IBF. I know that Jack, after beating Josh Taylor a few weeks back, he's gunning for these world champions, whether it be, I don't know, I know he's mentioned the Ryan Garcia fight. I know he's mentioned the Barboza fight. I know they're not world champions, but these are guys that are going to get them into that stratosphere, the US market, so to speak.
Yeah, Andy, I tried to explain this the other day just for people, and it's not me being patronizing, but you know when people say, world title, right? Jack wants to fight for a world title next, but the landscape of the division is this, right? The WBC belt is occupied by Devin Haney, yeah? He boxed Ryan Garcia last time on the promise that he'd have to defend against Sandor Martin. Even though that fight is a hellacious stinker, the fight still has to take place, right? Some poor broadcaster's going to have to buy that. So that's that belt on hold, right? 6 to 8 months. That fight's on, that belt is over there. The WBA is occupied by Pitbull Cruz. He's fighting on that All-American card. Amazing show. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable show. Riyadh season show, sorry. And then he's got to then defend the belt against the interim champion, Ismael Barroso, who boxed O'Hara Davis last time out. The third belt is the IBF belt, the belt that was contested for yesterday, which was a voluntary defense. Okay. So that belt is now occupied by Liam Paro. He will maybe be able to get a defense in. So if Eddie wants to get Jack an opportunity to box Liam Paro for the world championship, we're very easy to deal with. So that could happen. But if not, he then has to box his mandatory Richardson Hitchens. The other belt, the WBA belt. That belt is a possibility. Even though Tio's fighting Steve Claggett, I don't know why he's doing that, but he's fighting Steve Claggett next. That belt there could be an opportunity there for Jack to fight, which is the reason why we were interested. We were interested in this Barboza fight. I don't personally think the Barboza fight's going to happen, but that's why we were interested in that belt. So that's where we sit at the moment. So Jack has a decision. Do we sit and wait for a world title fight, which we are well in the mix of getting now, or do we have a fight in the interim and secure the mandatory shot like against a Barboza, or do we fight a Regis Prograis or a Jose Ramirez? Jack's game for all of these ideas, but it's just what makes sense. What makes sense for Jack, but a lot of options on the table. I'm waffling there, but I just tried to make sense of what the landscape looks like in the 140 division. You can't just say, I want a world title shot. I mean, listen, like what I said, there are possibilities now with the IBF that Liam Paro could have a voluntary defense, and if he wanted to fight Jack next, we would oblige, providing we got a good offer, which Jack deserves. Jack will go over to Australia, or Liam Paro can come over to Manchester, wherever it makes the most financial sense. Not a problem. Jack will be there. Jack fight anybody. And yeah, the Lopez situation where, look, Jack wants to fight Teofimo Lopez next, right? Literally next. But if they had to box a Barboza to get that opportunity, then so be it. But I think Jack, even if he waited, could fight Teofimo Lopez before the year's out. But yeah, that's where we're at. Sorry for waffling, but that's just wanted to make sense of it. I just wanted to kind of break down the landscape of the 140 division to make people understand that it's not just as simple as and when Jack boxed Taylor, it wasn't for a strap. It wasn't for an international title, so it didn't really progress the rankings. Do you understand what I mean? Josh didn't want to box for a belt. Josh not interested in boxing for the belt. So yeah, it didn't really help Jack's ranking. It just made the profile go, which is everything in boxing.
It'll help the money because the sanction fees went there, I suppose.
Absolutely, and it always helps.
Like you mentioned Josh there, like, is there an appetite for a trilogy? I mean, the fight definitely was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight and a war, but is there an appetite
Josh wants the trilogy. Josh wants a trilogy. I'm talking to his manager, Tom Grant. We speak all the time. There is a big appetite for the trilogy. And when I relay it to Jack, Jack's just like, if it makes money, it makes sense. So like Jack will more than happily fight Josh Taylor a third time if the fans want to see it. If the fans want to see it, Jack will do it. When I tell you this, Andrew, I know some people say, oh, yeah, they will fight anybody. They'll fight anybody. Jack will fight anybody.
Mm. I know he will, because listen, I remember Jack coming out to Vegas when Josh won Undisputed. He had a gum shield, and he just took his gum shield and went sparring at the Mayweather gym. Just
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what he does. Honestly, you will never find a fighter like Jack. Like when he says he will fight anybody,
Yeah.
believe me, he will fight. He will fight anybody. But Jack's earned the right to fight for a world title now. In my opinion, he's earned the right to get big money. He's earned the right to be in those big nights. So let's see what happens. There's loads of great fights to be made, Andy. There's loads and loads of great fights to be made. It's such an amazing division, the 140 division.
There was talk of Jack headlining this new arena in Manchester 28. That a possibility? Because obviously Jack wants to stay busy.
I don't know now, Andy, if I'm honest with you, because listen, Barboza demands a lot of money. And not rightfully so, but if you're in his position at WBA #1 and you're coming over to Manchester, there's a high chance you're going to get your ass whooped by Jack Catterall. You're going to want to get paid for it, aren't you? So yeah, I don't. If I'm being truthfully honest, I don't see the fight happening. I'm not optimistic about that fight, but there's some great fights for Jack to happen. Once Teofimo Lopez beats Steve Claggett in Florida, wherever he's fighting, we'll be making it very well known to get that fight. I mean, listen, we'd love to be on that big show, one of those big shows in Saudi Arabia, for Riyadh season, on October the 31st. Is it with Bivol and Beterbiev, or the 21st? October the 12th, or Tyson Fury's fighting Usyk in December. But preferably, would love to be on the October show. But look, there's a show at Wembley happening. So Jack Catterall versus Teofimo Lopez on any of those shows. But look, if Liam Paro wants to box Jack, why not do that? We could do that in Saudi Arabia. Still, it's a big fight now. So, but let's see. But yeah. That's what we're trying to do. The sole aim now is to get Jack a world title fight.
I'm glad you mentioned Saudi, Sam, because this brings me on to my next question. Now, I'm sure you've heard the sort of rumors or rumblings of Turki Alalshikh looking to buy all of the promotions and create this one big boxing super league with 250 fighters. I mean, it's all good being under one umbrella like the UFC. But boxing has been around for hundreds of years, and it's 150 years, whatever it may be, and it's hard. It'll be hard to do. Is that a good idea in your eyes?
The concept is a good idea, but it's easier said than done in boxing. It's just easier said than done because of it's just boxing isn't like UFC, Andy. Do you know what I mean? Boxing isn't like UFC. But I would, if they did manage to, I'd love to see how they would structure it. Do you understand? Like, because I just there'd have to be crazy money involved, wouldn't it? Like, I don't know. But no, listen, you wouldn't put anything past Turki Alalshikh to get done now, because look, he's changed the face of boxing. He's the #1 most powerful man in boxing, isn't he? At the moment, definitely at the moment he is, for what he's doing for boxing, and I think he's doing amazing things for anything that gets fighters paid what they're worth, and for risking their lives in a boxing ring. That guy's, for me, he's the #1 guy in boxing.
Definitely. Well, again, it's an interesting idea, and if anyone can pull it off, like you said, there, it's Turki Alalshikh. Sam, a quick one from me then. Obviously, you've got a busy stable. You've got other fighters. Dan Toward, sensational performance on Friday night. We spoke about that. You've got Hamza Uddin. You've got Cameron Vong as a replacement. Jeff Ofori because of Jordan Flynn. You've got Mark Dickinson out in Japan. You've got a hell of a busy couple of months coming ahead. Just break it all down for me.
Do you know what we was talking about? We'll speak about Dan Toward first, but do you know when I get criticised, oh, Sam's talking about he's got another star. But do you know, if you look at my stable, I genuinely believe I've got the best young stable in Great Britain. I really do believe that. I've got Dan Toward, who Barry Jones called one of the best prospects in world boxing the other day. Cameron Vong, do you know what I'm really pleased about? Because with Cameron, Flynn pulled out, right, with an injury, with quite a bad injury. He's had an operation on his knee, so we wish Jordan well. Like, I'm happy with Cameron as well. Proud of him because Jordan gave Cameron a lot of stick when Cameron pulled out, but Cameron was very classy and gracious. He told, listen, good luck, get well soon. Jeff Ofori, and people in boxing know who Jeff Ofori is. He's a handful. He's a right handful. And if you're no good, he'll beat you. Jeff Ofori. We've seen him with only recently with he upset Callum French. I'm proud of Cameron. I rang him. I rang Jamie Moore. Said, look, Flynn's out. What do you think to Jeff Ofori? I spoke to Matchroom. They wanted that fight because they think the name holds good value. And I'm like, poof, it's a good test for Cameron in his 5th fight. I personally think it's a harder fight for Cameron than the other scheduled fight. I mean, it's at 140 as well. Cameron was scheduled to box at 135 against Jordan Flynn. This is at 140. So you know yourself, Andrew. You know your boxing. Jeff Ofori's not a mug.
I was in Dubai when he had a fight out in Dubai against a Cuban guy. Held his own, and obviously you mentioned the Callum French fight.
He boxed Bader Samarin. He boxed Bader Samarin in the on the zone. Yeah, that was a close fight. That was a close fight. But like I say, Jeff Ofori is a tough man, and he will come to win that fight.
Experienced as well.
Experienced, tough. Only been stopped, I think, the once. Cameron, we believe is going to be a very special fighter, and we believe he deals with Jeff Ofori. But it's really, really excited for Cam. Really excited for him because I think he'll get a lot of credit, especially after the fight, because Jeff Ofori is one tough game man. Moving on to Hamza Adin. I mean, again, I get criticised, don't I? You want to say, oh, star, but what's his debut? You struggle to see a better debut than that in the whole of boxing. It was sensational, his debut. He's actually boxing somebody 2 divisions heavier than him because his original opponent pulled out a couple of days ago. So now he's boxing a bantamweight, he's really a super bantamweight. Hamza's a flyweight, but so you unfortunately that's the hand we've been dealt in this fight. But Hamza and his dad are just like, yeah, okay, if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. It's not ideal, but we still think Hamza, this guy's never been stopped as well. So we're looking forward to see Hamza knock out a guy 2 or 3 divisions heavier than him on Saturday. I've got young Muhammad Ali boxing. He's not boxed for a long while, to be honest with you. He's had been a bit unlucky. He's changed trainers, but he's in for a tough fight as well because the guy that's fighting him's a tough guy that comes to win as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. Then we go on. Then there's Mark Dickinson, who's going off to Japan on July the 15th, I think it is. I think that's the date of it. And we back Mark to win that tournament. He's fighting a Japanese guy in his hometown in the quarterfinals. So looking forward to doing that. But if Mark does what he's been doing in the gym and replicates that on fight night, Mark's going to win this tournament. I really believe that. He's the most inexperienced in the tournament, but I think especially the move to Tony Sims, he's been brought on another level. It's my stable's flying at the moment. Like we're doing really well. Obviously spearheaded by Jack. I've got Adam Hamed making his UK debut. I think is it July the 25th or the 23rd? 23rd?
I think it's 25th.
27th, July 27th. Derek Chisora, Joe Joyce.
Aye.
Yeah. So I've got that, and I've got a couple of signings to announce, which I'll be announcing in the next week or so. Doing good, Andrew.
Definitely. Jack aside, man, you've got probably, if fingers crossed all going well for you, in the next 2.5 to 3 years, could have a few world champions there.
I think so. I think so. Listen, it's hard to win world titles, legitimate world titles. It's not an easy task. But you're looking at fighters like Hamza. Hamza could be boxing for world titles within 12 months because of the division. And I just think anybody Hamza hits on the chops is falling over, Andy.
You can whack.
I really believe. Yeah. Oh gosh, he can whack. So Yeah, I mean, you look at him like Dan Toward last night. That Dan Toward on Friday was so good, Andy. He was levels above everything we saw on that show. Levels and levels above. But Callum and Nissa know what they've got there, and that's somebody you can build your whole company around, because he's a proper star, Dan. He really is. So we're looking to probably do one more with Dan, and then he will headline in Newcastle towards the end of the year.
Good stuff. Good to hear it. Sam, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. I'm missing our Sunday chats, and it's quite weird doing it on an evening rather than a morning.
I know if you've made me miss the England game just because you lot got battered the other night, you make me think I can miss England. No, 15 more minutes.
You've got half an hour, and good luck
Yeah.
then.
We don't need luck. No, we do. To be fair, one thing you can always guarantee: England probably will get knocked out in the semi-final in a 1-0 loss to somebody shouldn't really. Yeah, last minute, or they'll go out on penalties on a bit of a whimper. But they'll always do better than Scotland, so we're good there.
Sam, we're just there for the party, mate. Fuck it. We're just there for the party. Do you know what I mean? Listen,
Did you see that kid? Did you see that kid that he got ran in front of that moped? Oh, God. They're nuts, aren't they? They're nuts.
Mate, he was smoking vape and everything, boy.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Anyway, bro, that's why we look old. Listen, I appreciate your time as always, my man. I'll speak to you soon, Sam.
See, are you coming to Birmingham on next week, Andy?
Unfortunately not, mate. No, it's Sam. Fucking Coogan and Joe's there.
Okay,
Gutted,
good
man,
stuff.
'cause
Take care.
That'll be a good show, so I'm gutted. But listen, Sam.
Yeah, very good show. Take care, Andy. See you in a bit, mate.
Speak to you soon.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.